My wife asked why I'd been sleeping on the couch for weeks, her voice cracking like she finally realized how far things had gone. I looked at her across the kitchen island, rain tapping the windows behind her, and said calmly, "I'm getting used to living without you, Sarah." "It's easier than I expected." Her face went pale. She laughed at first, nervous, disbelieving. Then the tears came fast. "You're leaving me? Just like that? After everything?" She reached for my arm, but I stepped back, not angry, just done. That's when she broke, sobbing, pleading, then yelling that I was overreacting, that nothing physical happened, that it was all in my head. But I'd already shown her the photo, her climbing into Jason's SUV, the quick kiss on the cheek, the timestamp proving it wasn't a jog at all. She crumpled into a chair, whispering, "I didn't mean for it to go this far." Before we continue, kindly like and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. Thank you. I grabbed my jacket and walked out into the Seattle rain, closing the door quietly behind me. That night, I moved out. The divorce papers were filed the next week. What she didn't know yet was how the rest would unravel. Her friends turning away, her job getting awkward, Jason's wife finding out everything. But before I tell you how it all ended, let me take you back to how it started, because the real shock wasn't the affair. It was how quietly everything fell apart. My name is Michael Reynolds. I'm 39. I live, or lived, in a house in Bellevue, just across the lake from Seattle. The kind of neighborhood where people wave from driveways and kids still play basketball in the street until the streetlights come on. I work in operations for a tech supply company downtown. Good hours, decent pay, nothing that keeps me up at night. Sarah and I had been married 12 years. We met at the University of Washington, fell into an easy rhythm, got married on Bainbridge Island with the sound of ferries in the background, and bought our place here when we wanted something permanent. Weekends were hikes around Cougar Mountain, dinners at that little Italian spot in Kirkland, or just sitting on the porch with coffee, watching the sun drop behind the Cascades. It felt steady, safe, like the kind of life you build and don't question. Then, 5 months ago, Sarah started these evening jogs. Tuesday and Thursday, 7 o'clock sharp. She'd change into her running clothes, new stuff from the mall, good shoes, phone strapped to her arm, and head out saying she needed to unwind after work. She works in marketing at an ad agency downtown, long days with creative types and tight deadlines. I thought it was healthy. Good for her. But she always came back showered, hair damp like she'd used the gym facilities nearby, and smelling like a new perfume. Something soft, floral, expensive. Not the light one I'd gotten her last anniversary. This was different, deliberate. Her phone changed too. It used to charge on the kitchen counter, lighting up with texts from friends or family. Now it stayed locked, face down, notifications off. If a message popped in during dinner, she'd glance, smile to herself, then flip it over. "Just something funny from the team," she'd say if I asked. I stopped asking because the answers started feeling rehearsed. Our shared calendar, the one we used for everything, had new entries. Meet Jay, 7 p.m. No details. No location. She'd mentioned a coworker named Jason Carter a few times. Jason had this great idea for the pitch, or we grabbed coffee to brainstorm the deck. Casual mentions. Work stuff, but the jog nights lined up perfectly with those entries. The perfume appeared right after she started talking about him more, and those private smiles at her phone. They weren't the tired ones she gave me at the end of the day. They were different. One Tuesday, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I told her I had an errand after work, then parked a few streets over and waited. She jogged past our house, slowed at the corner. A black SUV pulled up. The window went down. She opened the passenger door, slid in, leaned over, and gave the driver a quick kiss on the cheek. They drove off toward the highway. I sat there gripping the wheel, rain starting on the windshield, stomach twisting. I didn't follow. I drove home, made a sandwich, sat in the dark kitchen until she came back, flushed, smiling, that perfume hitting me like a wave. I didn't say anything. That night, I slept on the couch, told her my back was acting up from the office chair. She nodded, concerned. From then on, the couch was my spot. No more goodnight kisses. No reaching for her hand during a show. I was still polite, asked about her day, passed the salt, but the connection was gone. I needed to feel what alone felt like, because I knew we weren't fixing this. She noticed. Small questions turned into bigger ones. One Thursday after her jog, She came into the kitchen in her robe, poured a glass of Cabernet, and watched me rinse dishes. "Michael," she said softly, "come sit with me. We haven't talked in weeks." I kept rinsing. "Not tonight." She set the glass down hard. "What's going on? You're on the couch every night. You barely look at me. You're so distant. It's scaring me." I dried my hands, turned, kept my voice steady. "I'm getting used to being on my own, Sarah. It's easier than I thought it would be." Her face froze. Confusion, then fear. "What? Are you leaving me?" "Your choices started that," I said. "I'm just catching up." She laughed shakily. "My choices? Jogging? Work friends? You're jealous. You've always been a bit, but this is too much." I folded the towel. Locked phone. New perfume you don't wear for me. Texts that make you smile when I'm right there. Meet Jay on our calendar. Coming back from jogs, looking ready for someone else. Arms crossed. Jason's a colleague. We talk work. Coffee sometimes. That's it. You're making drama out of nothing. I pulled my phone, showed the photo, her in the SUV, the timestamp, the kiss. She gasped. "You followed me?" "That's not right." "Didn't have to go far," I said. "You skipped the trail." Tears came. She sat, hands over face. Nothing physical. "We talk. He listens. I felt invisible with you. Always tired. Always work. I didn't mean to hurt you." It stung, but truth cut deeper. I was here every day, asking, planning, trying. You built something else. She looked up, red-eyed. "I'm sorry." "Counseling? Anything?" I felt the last hope slip. "I've talked to a lawyer. Papers are coming. Stay in the house. I'll move out this weekend." She stared. 12 years. "And you're done?" "Done pretending," I said. I grabbed my jacket, the hook we installed together, and walked into the rain. The door clicked shut. The rain was steady that night, the kind that soaks through your jacket in minutes. I drove to Dave's apartment in Kirkland with the wipers on slow headlights cutting through the mist. Dave's place is on the 4th floor of an old brick building. No elevator, exposed pipes, view of a parking lot and the lake in the distance. He'd been my roommate back in college, the guy who always had a spare couch and never asked too many questions. When I showed up at his door at 10 p.m. with a duffel bag and wet shoes, he just opened the door wider. "Couch is yours as long as you need it," he said, tossing me a blanket and cracking open 2 beers. We sat on his worn leather sectional, watched the end of a hockey game without really watching, and I told him the short version. Sarah, the jogs, the photo, the lawyer. He listened, nodded once or twice, then said, "You're doing the right thing, man. Hurts like hell, but you're doing it." That was enough. I slept better that night than I had in months. The next morning I woke up to the smell of coffee and the sound of rain on the metal fire escape outside. Dave was already gone to work, so I had the place to myself. I checked my phone. Sarah had sent 12 messages overnight. "I'm sorry. Please come home so we can talk. I love you. We can fix this. I made your favorite breakfast. It's still warm if you come back." I read them once, then put the phone down. No reply. I showered, dressed for work, and headed downtown. The office felt different. Same desk, same emails. But I felt lighter, like I'd been carrying something heavy for months and finally set it down. Sarah didn't stop trying. That afternoon, she showed up at my office building with takeout from our favorite pho place. Extra basil. No sprouts, just how I like it. She waited in the lobby until I came down for a break. Her eyes were red, makeup smudged, but she tried to smile. "Michael, please. Just 5 minutes." I brought lunch. I looked at the bag in her hands, then at her face. "I can't do this here." "Then come home tonight. I'll cook. We'll talk. Really talk." "I've already talked to the lawyer," I said. "That's where we're at now." She stepped closer, voice dropping. "You're really going through with this? Over coffee and conversations?" "Nothing happened. I swear." I kept my voice low. "It wasn't nothing. It was months of hiding, of choosing someone else over us. I can't unsee that." Tears welled up again. "I was lonely. You were always tired. I felt like I was disappearing. I felt it too, I said. But I didn't go looking for someone else to fill the gap. The next few days blurred. I went back to the house once to grab more clothes. Sarah had set the dining table, candles lit, soft music, grilled chicken with the herb rub we used to make together. She was in the kitchen, apron on, trying to look like everything was normal. I thought we could eat together, she said. Like old times, I looked at the table, the effort, the hope in her eyes. This isn't old times anymore. She turned off the stove, shoulders sagging. I cut contact with Jason. Blocked him. Deleted everything. I don't want to lose you, I nodded slowly. I believe you did that. But the trust is gone. You can't delete months of secrets. I packed what I needed and left. She didn't follow me to the door this time. The lawyer moved fast. No-fault state helped. Papers were filed quietly. Sarah got served at work. Ironic, since that's where it all started. She called me that evening, voice shaking. You really did it. Divorce papers at my desk. Everyone saw. I didn't want to drag this out, I said. I miss you, she whispered finally. I miss what we had, I said. But that version of us isn't coming back. Over the next couple weeks, the consequences started showing up for her. Mutual friends started distancing themselves. Lisa, our old neighbor, texted me. We saw how she was acting. The late nights, the excuses. We're on your side. Work got awkward for her too. Jason's wife, someone in the same agency circle, heard whispers. Word travels fast in Seattle. Sarah told me later, through a text I didn't answer, that Jason got called into HR, that things were tense. She lost a big project she'd been leading. The vibe shifted. I stayed focused on moving forward. I found a small one-bedroom apartment in Redmond. The first night alone, I sat on the floor with a pizza box and a beer, and instead of feeling empty, I felt calm. Like I could breathe again. Sarah kept trying for a while. One evening, she showed up at Dave's building. She stood in the hallway, eyes puffy. I just need to see you, she said. One last time, I stepped out, closed the door behind me. This isn't helping either of us. I know I messed up, she said, voice breaking. But I still love you. Doesn't that count for anything? It counted for 12 years, I told her. But love isn't enough when trust is gone. She nodded slowly, wiped her face. I'm moving back to my parents' place in Tacoma next month. The house feels too big without you. I didn't say anything. What was there to say? She left. I went back inside. Dave looked at me from the couch. You okay? Yeah, I said. And for the first time, I meant it. The divorce finalized 3 months later. It was quiet. No courtroom drama. No drawn-out fights over furniture or bank accounts. We split things evenly. The house went on the market. Retirement accounts were divided. No kids or pets to complicate it. The lawyer handled most of it through email. I signed the last papers in a small office near Pioneer Square. Rain streaking the windows like it had the night I left. The notary stamped them. And that was it. 12 years dissolved on a piece of paper. Sarah moved back to her parents' place in Tacoma a week before closing. She texted me once after the papers were signed. I guess this is really over. I hope you find what you're looking for. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. She tried one last time to control the story. First came the vague social media posts, photos of sunsets over Puget Sound with captions like, learning to let go of what no longer serves me, or sometimes the hardest goodbyes are the ones that free you. She didn't tag me, didn't name names, but our circle is small. People knew. Mutual friends started commenting. Politely at first. Then firmer. Lisa wrote, We saw how things were going. The late nights, the distance. Don't rewrite it now. Another friend, Corey, added. He gave you everything. Own what happened. Sarah deleted the posts within hours, but screenshots circulated in private chats. Then, everything went quiet. Work fallout hit harder. Seattle's ad world is tight-knit. Whispers about Jason and Sarah spread fast. Jason's wife, Emily, found out through a coworker. Emily didn't make a scene publicly, but she filed for separation quietly. Jason moved out of their place in Fremont. Last I heard, he was crashing on a friend's couch in Ballard. job hunting because the agency restructured his role. Sarah lost the lead on her biggest campaign. She took a pay cut and a step back to a junior role. She told a friend that interviews were drying up. Word travels fast in this city. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Watching the natural consequences unfold felt like the rain finally washing everything clean. I settled into my new apartment in Redmond, 1 bedroom, small balcony overlooking a stand of evergreens. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Mornings, I made coffee the way I like it, strong, black, and sat outside listening to birds instead of silence filled with tension. I started small routines: gym 3 times a week, hikes on weekends, dinners with friends who didn't tiptoe around the topic. The ache didn't vanish overnight. Some nights I'd think about the good years, the trips to the San Juan Islands, the quiet mornings when everything felt right. I missed that version of us, but I didn't miss the lies, the locked phone, the distance that grew until it swallowed everything. One spring morning, about 6 months after I moved out, Dave and I met for coffee. He slid into the booth across from me with a grin. "Heard about Sarah?" I raised an eyebrow. "What now?" "She's working at her parents' farm in Tacoma, mucking stalls, planting veggies. Her dad posted a photo of her holding a goat." "A goat, man?" I almost laughed. Sarah, who loved city brunches and heels, now knee-deep in mud. "She hated that farm growing up," I said. "Word is jobs aren't panning out. Too many people know the story." "She's keeping her head down." I sipped my coffee, watched people walk by on the sidewalk. "And Jason? His wife kicked him out for good. He tried reaching out to Sarah after, but she shut it down. Didn't want the extra mess." "Figures." Sarah always liked control, curating the perfect image. When it cracked, she jumped before admitting she helped break it. I paid the bill, left a good tip, and walked out into the sun. The air smelled like pine and possibility. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even sad most days. I was just here, breathing, moving forward. The house sold a month later. I used my share for a down payment on a small condo closer to work, with a view of the lake and room for a real bed instead of a couch. I hung a few photos, not of Sarah, but of hikes, friends, sunsets over the water. Simple things that reminded me life keeps going. If someone you loved betrayed you like that, built a secret life, then tried to blame you when it came out, would you have stayed quiet like I did or called them out louder? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one. If this story hit home, if you've ever had to walk away to save yourself, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got more stories coming, all straight from life, narrated the way they deserve. See you in the next one. Take care out there.